Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, we can start with the class. Let's start. They'll find us on the way.
Okay.
Right, so let's do the first one for 2023. I think I sent two. The one was for 2024. So let's do the one for 2023. It's a long paper. Let's quickly read the story, the background information here. So they say summer bag manufacture and sell um, different types of bags. Uh, uh, different types of. Can you mute yourself, please? Different types of bags to purchase clothing and accessories shops across South Africa. Farmer owner manager, Scotana, owner manager of the business, started selling homemade bags of different shapes and sizes in the hometown of Mokopane and expanded Kwama gradually over the course of 10 years into a well-known brand. A portion of the production work is now automated, but Ms. Kosana retained the human touch to some extent to stay aligned with customer preferences and to develop sewing skills in various communities across the country. Um, Kwama uses an absorption costing. This is very important. I think we should take this one. They use the absorption costing and they also apply the test in, test out. It's also very important. Right. There Kwama's production range consists of three products. They have three products. There is a Mac B, there is a draw B, and there is a shoulder B. So they have three products. Although each product type is available in a variety of colors and with some design difference, such as in terms of zip, location, and shape of pockets and finishes, the production cost of each bag of a specific product type is deemed to be the same. In other words, the production cost of all make these are equal, and the production cost of all draw bees are equal, and the production cost of all shoulder bees are equal. But there are differences between the production cost of a make bee, a draw bee. So here it means, yeah, they are different when it comes to different products, but all products of the same, they have the same production cost. So they say no opening inventory of any material, work in progress, or of finished goods existed at the beginning of the financial year. This one is going to save us from not applying this test in, test out, because there is no opening inventory. Then they say, number one, extract from information relating to budget prepared for the 2023 financial year budget. When you should always take note of here, the budget, so that if they require you to calculate the budgeted, whatever budgeted, then you know this information is for budget. Remember, we can have a question that requires us to calculate the budgeted or calculate the actual. So you should always take note of which are the budgeted and which are the actual, so that when you do your calculation, you use the correct figure. So these are the budgets for 2023 financial year. So they say 1.1 budgeted sales units for year 2023 are in line with the demand for the product. Farmers' production budget shows that there were no required finished goods inventory at the end of 2023. So budget sales units and selling price are as follows. So that's there. Let me just admit this other guy to just come now. Right. So these are the budgeted sales units and selling price. Budgeted sales units and selling price. So we have our budgeted selling units and selling price. These are the units and these are the selling price. Then 1.2 says budgeted prime costs are estimated at the following amount per product. So we are having a prime cost. Remember, prime cost is our direct material. So that's a prime cost. Direct material and direct labor, it forms our prime cost there. Anything direct is the prime cost. So we have the direct material is provided, direct material and direct labor. And you can see here, direct labor, they only give us for Mac B, and they give 1.2 as a guide. So on 1.2.1, it says one of the direct materials used in all product types are zipper pulls. One Mac B uses two. It's very important, this part. One Mac B uses two zipper pulls. One draw B uses one zipper pull, and one shoulder B uses 4 zipper pulls. So this is important. These are the zipper pulls that goes into each bag. So Mac B uses 2, draw B uses 1, and shoulder B uses 4. Then let's check on the direct labor there. They say the same direct labor rate per hour applies to all products, which means the same direct labor rate per hour. You should take note of here. They give us the direct labor of Mac B. And here they come and say the same direct labor rate per hour applies to all products, which means we must calculate the direct labor per hour so that we can allocate to each of the products. So they now come here and say the budgeted direct labor minutes per Mac B is 18 minutes, draw B 12 minutes, and shoulder B 30 minutes. So these are the minutes that are required to make each bag. And they say they have the same rate per hour. So which means we are going to calculate that rate. I'm sure here we need to calculate the rate here. Then they come here and say the budgeted variable manufacturing overhead rate is, this one is easy, 20 cents per direct labor minute. So which means when we want the budgeted variable manufacturing overhead, we just come and multiply 20 cents by the direct labor minute. For Mac B, it's going to be 18, draw B 12, and shoulder B 30. So that is going to be our budgeted variable manufacturing overhead. amount to, these are the budgeted fixed manufacturing overheads, and budgeted fixed manufacturing overheads are allocated to production based on units produced. So here you should be able to calculate your overhead absorption rate. Overhead absorption rate using units produced. So when you are using the units produced, it means your overhead absorption rate, you are going to use these units that were produced in order to calculate your overhead absorption rate. Right. Then they also come here on 1.5 and say common selling costs are mixed. They are mixed. If they are mixed, it means there is a fixed element and variable element. They are mixed, which means, can you guys mute yourself so that you unmute yourself when you want to say something, so that we don't hear what is happening on your side? Can you please mute yourself, please? Right. So we are here on mixed costs. So if they are mixed, the moment you read mixed, you come to how do I separate mixed costs? We have the high-low method. The moment you read mixed costs, which means when you separate them, you can separate using the high-low method, or you can also separate them using, this is the one that is most used, mostly used, the high-low method, right? So they say mixed costs are estimated by means of applying historic figures, a mathematical cost estimation method that compare the change in cost between. So this is the high-low method. They already told us how we split those costs. So I'm going to use the high-low method and then adjusting for expected price increase, if any. The variable selling cost per unit is the same for all products. The variable selling cost per unit was expected to increase by 4% in year 2023. In estimating the selling cost for year 2023, the following actual selling cost information for the 2022 financial year was used. So this is the mixed cost that we have here. So when you want to extract the variable cost, then it means we are going to use the high-low method. I'm going to use the high-low method. Right? 1.6 says budgeted fixed administrative cost is here. I think we can, remember I always say, once you read information on number one, you must be able to answer one or two questions. You don't have to continue reading. What we have now, we should be able to answer. You don't even need to read everything so that you start answering your question. So let's come here and answer the question. Let's start with A. A says calculate the total budget. Can you please mute yourself? Who is that who is speaking on? Calculate the total budgeted selling cost. The total budgeted selling cost for Squama for year 2023. We want to calculate the total budgeted selling cost. Right? So where do we start? You guys, where do we start to calculate the total budgeted selling cost? So which means we are here. We are here. These are the selling costs. They want us to calculate the total budgeted selling cost. we start here? Okay. So this one is going to be so this is our A. They want us to calculate the budgeted selling cost. Total, sorry. So where do we start with the calculation of the budgeted selling cost? Right. So we need to split between the variable element and the fixed element in those selling costs. So which means we are going to, first we need to split. So which means you are going to use the mathematical equation which they say is y is equal to mx plus c. Remember in our 2601 MAC we were using y is equal to a plus bx is still the same, where y is the total cost, m is the variable cost, and c is the activity level. Sorry, x is the activity, and c here is the fixed cost. The same applies to here. This is going to be your total cost. It's going to be made up of fixed cost plus variable cost minus times the activity level, right? So in calculating the total selling cost, step number one, we need to calculate the variable cost. So we're going to use the high-low method. The high-low method. So the high-low method is equal to the highest cost minus lowest cost over highest activity minus lowest activity. So that is going to be our variable cost. So which means once we do this, then we have our variable cost. So we go to our question now and check who is the highest cost and who is the lowest activity. So we use those ones. Okay, so here we use the highest. When you are selecting here, that's another key area that you guys must be careful of. When you are selecting here, you use, in your selection, you use the highest activity. So it means you are going to use the total units sold, the highest total units sold, which is here. Then the lowest is going to be this one. So you can see here we have our highest activity and our lowest activity. So we are going to say our highest cost is going to be 161,871.75 minus 130 over 25 minus 17,500. So that's how we get our variable cost there using the high-low method. Right? So let's come and see how do we put them on. So it is going to be our highest cost is 161,875 minus 130,000 over 25,000 minus 17,500. How much are we going to get there? It's going to be the top one is going to be how much?
31,875.
31,875 over, we minus this one, we get 7,500.
Yes.
So our variable cost is going to be a unit. We divide. How much are we going to get there?
4.25.
4.25. So our variable cost per unit is equal to 4.25. This
25.
is our variable cost per unit. Like when we have our variable cost per unit, remember our equation, y is equal to mx plus c. We need now to substitute that equation so that we can get the c. Yeah, because here we want the c. We need now to substitute so that we can get the c. So we come here. We want the fixed cost. So it's going to be like this. Y is equal to mx plus c. So our y is going to be, we can take anyone. It's either you can use the figures from the lowest, or you can use the figure from the highest. You can take anyone. Let's take the lowest, which is 130. So 130,000 is the total. So it's going to be our 130,000 is equal to for there's something that I saw here. Our variable cost, we must adjust it before using it. Am I correct? For those who have gone through the paper, our variable cost must be adjusted by 4%. Yes, we need to adjust our variable cost by 4% here. So let's quickly adjust the variable cost. So our variable cost adjusted is going to be times 1.04. How much are we going to have there? It's going to be 4.25 times 1.04, 4.42. Am I correct? 4.42 is going to be our adjusted variable cost. So we come here and substitute mx plus c. So our variable cost is 4.42 x plus c, right? What do we do after this? I mean, who is x here? If x is this lowest cost that we use, am I correct? So it's going to be our 130,000 is equal to 4.42 times 17,500 plus c. So which means we need to clear this one first. Let's clear this one. How much are we going to get there if we multiply by 17,500? 77,350. Am I correct there?
Yes.
So this one is going to be 130,000 is equal to 77,350 plus C. So our C, we jump this one to here, it becomes a minus. So it's going to be 130,000 minus 77,350 is equal to C. So our C is going to be how much there? We minus the 2. $52,500 650. So our C is going to be 52,650. Am I correct? Are we together, guys? So this one is the equation. You know, in Mac, there are certain things that I want you guys to familiarize yourself. Familiarize yourself with basic math, like unit of measurement, kilometers, to convert kilometers to meters, to convert millimeters to kilograms. All those, especially units of measurement, you must familiarize yourself with them. Because sometimes the question will give you the answer, something in kg and something um, in grams. So you must be able to know how many grams are there in a kg, how many kilometers are there, how many meters are there in a kilometer. So you should try to master a bit of basic math in MSc. So this is our fixed cost per quarter, right? When we have our fixed cost per quarter, what are we going to do? We want the total cost here. The question requires us to do the total cost. Are you guys there? What do we do? Remember, we are here. Y is equal to mx plus c. So which means now, since we have 4 quarters there, we multiply this by 4 to get the total for 4 quarters. Then this one, we substitute by our, so it's going to be y is equal to mx is 4.42 times our x is now our production, if I'm not mistaken. Then let's take from the question. So our x is going to be the units that were produced. So our x is going to be the units to be produced and sold. So we're going to multiply the variable cost per unit times the total of these. The variable cost per unit times the total of these, 18, 45, and 27. So which means we are here, so it's going to be times 18,000 plus 45,000 plus who else 27,000, then plus C is now going to, the total C is going to be 52,650 times 4. Remember, we have 4 quarters there. So how much are we going to have as our total cost? I think we are now there. So which means here we need this total. Then we multiply it by 4.42. Then we multiply this one by 50 by 4. Then we add the 2. Then we get our total cost. How much is going to be our total cost there?
$608,400.
The total.
Yes.
6.
608,400.
608. Anyone who got something different? Right. So that is going to be our total cost. Our total cost is going to be here. Right. Then what else are we done? There we're done. Then we need to check on, yes, I think that's all on.
Okay.
So we're done on A, right? Let's look at B. So we need to do B. Let's check there and see if we're. Okay, so let's do our B. Yes.
Love more. I just wanted to ask Uguti, between the two calculations that we were doing, I got lost somewhere. So I just want to ask which one now is fixed cost and the one that is a variable cost.
Okay. Which one is the fixed cost and which one is the variable cost? Let's just go there. Who is fixed and who is variable here? In our case, we should go to the equation. Like, remember our equation is here, y is equal to mx plus c. So our y is mx is this one, which means this is the variable cost. Then c is the fixed cost, which means c is this one, is the variable cost. I don't know if I'm there, but are we together there? Joseph, are you there? Is it? Do you got what I'm trying to explain? I say this is mx is this part, which means this is the variable. Then c is the fixed cost, which means it's this part.
Mm.
Right? Correct. But there's something that I see. What did we do here?
Love me, can I ask something?
Yes.
Calculating the fixed cost. Are we
Yes.
supposed to use the mix or the variable cost? Are we supposed to use 4.42 or 4.25?
Hmm?
I'm trying to understand there to
Okay.
get
Okay.
the fixed cost.
Okay. When you are calculating them here, when you are here,
No, when you get that 52,000,
yes.
are we multiplying up with the mix that we already got when you calculated the 4% increase? Or we just supposed to use the 4.25 that we got there as a variable cost?
Yeah, I was even myself, I was even going to check that because the 4.42 is for 2023.
The mix
Let's
is
check. Yeah, we quickly use the increase here. Here on this equation that we say 130,000 minus, it should be minus 4.25 times 17,500 plus C, because the increase is not yet there. So we made a mistake there. We increased where we are going to increase when we are now calculating the total. That's a correction that we should make here. Let's see how we can correct this part. So it means our increase is not supposed to be here. It's not supposed to be here. This one must be 4.25. will increase when we come here. Yeah, that's correct. So let's quickly correct. So it means if we say 4.25 times 17,500, how much are we going to get here? How much are you guys getting there? 4.25 times 17,500.
I get 74,375.
This one is going to be 74,375.
75.
Right? So here we subtract this one is 74,375. So which means this one we correct it. How much are we going to have here?
55,625.
55,625.
625. Yes.
Then we multiply it by 4 here. How much are we going to get?
222,500.
So this one is going to be 222,500. Then we add now, so which means this one we have to correct it again. So when we add our total is going to be how much for all the total fixed costs?
It will be 620,300.
Total is going to be 620,300. So that is going to be our
Yes.
total fixed cost, right? I think it's correct now. Because here the mistake that we did here, we quickly adjust here. Remember, this one is for 2022. This is the information that we are using. So we're supposed to adjust when we are doing the 2023. That's when we're going to use the 4.42. I think now it's perfect now, because even me, I was looking at it like, no, we quickly adjust here. I think now it's fine. Right? Is there anyone with a question before we go to B? Any other question? Here, what we must know is, I think the most important part here is the equation. Sometimes they will not tell you to use the high-low method. So the moment you see, here it was fine, because they even explain. The moment you see the word mix cost, and you have a table like this, then automatically know that you are going to use the high-low method to separate the mix, the fixed cost, and the variable cost. You are going to use the high-low method. So in your high-low method, once you are trying to calculate the variable cost, remember the high-low method is there to calculate the variable cost per unit. So that when you have your variable cost per unit, you just come here and say y is equal to mx plus c. So your y is the total cost, then m is the variable cost per unit. These are the units. So it means when you want the total variable cost, you are going to multiply your variable cost per unit times the total unit plus your c. Your c is going to be, once you have your variable cost, your cost, total cost line here minus your variable cost is going to give you the c, which is the fixed cost. Right? Unless if there's anyone with a question, then it means we have to check on B. What are we supposed to do on B?
Okay, sorry, love more. I just want to maybe understand in a simple way. So this total cost of 130, that cost is actually a mix of variable cost and fixed cost. So what we were trying to do now, we were trying to separate them. That's what I'm asking.
The total cost is now composed of the 620 is now composed of fixed and variable. Remember here, our variable So we say this class, this is the fixed cost, the 22,500. So which means when we come here, it's now a mix of variable and fixed cost. So here is your variable cost here. The variable cost is here, and this one is the fixed cost. The 222,500 is the fixed cost. So what the reason why I think maybe something that is the reason why we wanted to calculate the variable cost per unit. We wanted it because if we didn't have the variable cost per unit, we're not going to be able to determine the total variable cost. So that's why we have to calculate the variable cost per unit first, so that we can be able to determine the total variable cost. Then we add with the total fixed cost, the total the fixed cost, so that we can have the total. Because our total is y, which means your y is going to be mx plus ft. Then it gives you the total fixed cost. I don't know if it's on the point that you want to understand there.
No, thank you. I'm sorted. Thanks.
Okay, right. So that's there. Let's do our B. Our B says when we go to B, yes.
Before you go to B, I just wanna quickly ask here. Actually, I did mine differently from what you did, but I still got the same answer. So mine, instead of using the formula, I used total cost minus total variables. Will I be marked incorrectly if I do that?
And in Mac, there is no, as long as your calculations are correct, you are correct. You are right.
Oh,
As long
okay.
as you got the same figures, there is no way we can all have the same calculation. Someone might have used y is equal to, someone might have used a plus bx, y is equal to a plus bx, so it means we are all going to get the same answer. We don't have this, we should call it this way. The only thing that you should use the same, like when you do, let's say we're doing the absorption costing, we're doing the marginal costing, those one we have a structure. But you may see in our structure, we're not all going to come up with exactly the same structure, but it will be still correct. Because remember, Mac does not have standards like SAT, where we say according to AIS 12, we should do things this way. In Mac, there is nothing like that.
Okay.
Right. Let's do B. Unless if there's someone with a question, let's do B and C. How do we do B, and what do they? So B is saying assume the following in answering sub question B. So this is for B. Zipper pools are in short supply in South Africa, and only 150 zipper pools are expected to be available to purchase for production, and all the other information remains as given in the scenario. Calculate commerce budgeted optimal production mix. I think we did this topic. It's a very nice topic. Something like this comes, must be whistling like no optimal production mix. As long as you know, remember I always say the most important thing is when they talk of the optimal production mix, which topic is this one? It should come in your head quickly. Which topic is this one? How do I do this topic? Okay, this is how I do it. There is no way you will not get the information from here. As long as you know what you are looking for, there is no way you will not be able to find it. So when you are doing our optimal production, the first thing that you need is to determine who is the limiting factor. Am I correct? In our stages, there remember when we were doing it, the first thing that you need is to determine the limiting factor. So which means you need who is the limiting factor here. So that's your first step. So in your limiting factor, you look at the resources. So you are having the zipper pools. Those are the ones that are given. So you are going to give us the required for production. So you need the ones that are going to be required for production. And then you check the available capacity. Then you check now if there is a surplus or a shortfall. So let's go to our question and look at required for production. How do we determine those required for production? Right. Required for production will come here. So we have Mac B. Mac B is going to need how many zipper pools? Mac B uses 2 zipper pools. So we are going to multiply by 2 here. Then draw B uses 1. So we are going to multiply by 1 here. Then who else there? Shoulder
Sorry,
B.
Rishokweti, Makula, we see you. They are being massaging you. Can you please close your camera?
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Shoulder B uses 4 zipper pools. That means we are going to multiply by 4. That's the one that are required for production. So it's going to be 18,000 times 4, 45,000 times 1, plus 20,000 times 4. Then they now say, when we are doing this, the available capacity is 150,000. 150,000, that's the available capacity. So which means we come here. So what are they going to give the required? So the required is equal to 18,000 times 2 plus 45,000 times 1 plus 27,000 times 4. How many are we going to have as the total that is required for production? It's going to be how much here? 18,000 is 36 plus 45 plus here. You guys, you didn't go through this question. You must have your answers with you. So here we have 189. You see, the good thing, you see, if you don't go through a question before the class, it's going to be a problem to understand what is happening. Right. Then what are the available? The available are 150. 150. So are we having a shortfall, a surplus here? Yeah? Are we having a shortfall? This is the required for production. We need 189,000, and this is what is available. So the 39,000 is going to be a shortfall. So zipper pools are limiting factors. Then we want to do the optimum production mix. In the optimum production mix, we say you calculate the contribution per unit. Then you calculate if you go to our notes, they are very stated that the first step is to determine the limiting limiting factor. If you check in the notes for limiting factor, the first step is to determine who is the limiting factor in this production. Then we go on and say on step 2, you now calculate the variable cost per unit, which means that's where we are going now. We're now going to calculate the variable cost per unit. When you calculate the variable cost, so your contribution per unit, then you now determine the contribution per limiting factor. The contribution per limiting factor is going to be your contribution divided by your limiting factor amount, limiting factor quantity per unit. Then you get your contribution per limiting factor. Then you go to ranking. Who is the highest contribution per limiting factor? Then you rank 1, 2, 3. After ranking, then you now say, okay, who should I produce first? With the highest ranking is the one to produce first. You give all the resources to the highest rank. If they are still available, you give to the next. Just like that. This one is straight marks in the exam. You don't need to lose anything on this kind of equation. If you see this question, then you should tell yourself, here, I have to capitalize here. So if you check, that's why I always give you guys notes, detailed notes. Because I want you, like when you are alone, you are doing a question like this. Then I don't want you guys to go to the memorandum step. I want you to go to the notes. That one I always say, and I will keep on saying. Because in the notes, you will be told a detailed, how do you get there? How do you arrive there? So whenever you are doing your question, always be guided either by a textbook or the notes, right? So which means here, we need now the contribution, the limiting factor. Contribution per unit, sorry, per unit. Contribution per unit is equal to selling price minus variable cost. So this is what we want here. We have 3 products. We have Mac B, and who else? We have Mac B, Mac
Shoulder
B,
B.
and
Draw B.
Draw B,
And shoulder
right,
B.
and Shoulder B. Right, so these are the 3 products that we have. Okay. So what we want is the contribution first per unit. So which means we are going to have the selling price minus, here we want the contribution. So you can just come here and say less all variable costs. Variable cost. So in our variable cost, if you check in our question, we have direct material. We have direct material and direct labor. But let's check what else we have. Before I even do the calculation, I want to see what is going to go there. Then I'll do the calculations after I got all what I'm supposed to calculate. So I have to list down what goes to the variable cost. That's the first. So because in the exam, there is no time. You need to know your story very well in the exam because there is no time there to think. I don't know if you guys have that time to think. If I am in an exam, I don't have time to think. I must be just writing what I know. Right? So we have our direct labor, direct material. What else goes there? Remember here we are talking of variable. So which means we need the variable manufacturing overhead. And who else do we need? I think on our
Variable fixed overheads.
selling cost,
Yes.
yeah, the variable selling cost. So which means we have to come down right. So we have direct labor, then we say variable manufacturing cost. Here we don't take the fixed because we want contribution. That's another thing. We don't mind about the fixed cost because we want contribution here. So variable manufacturing cost, then we need the variable selling cost. Right? What do we do after the variable selling cost? It means we are going to have our contribution.
Yes. Yes.
We're going to have our contribution. After contribution, what do we need? Contribution, we need how many units goes to each. So in our case, zipper pools are the limiting factor. So we need how many zipper pools?
Unit.
Yes, zipper pools per unit. Then from there, what else do we need? After the zipper pools, we need the contribution per limiting factor. Contribution per limiting factor. Right? Then after this, we are doing the optimum production. So what are we going to have now after this one? These are the things that we should know in the exam, because there is no way you can come right if you don't know these things. So when you rank based on your contribution per limiting factor. Then you have manufacturing. You are now giving them according to their rank. Then you are done. You will be done. So the next thing that you just need now is to fill in the figures. Once you manage to come up with this, there is no way, if it is out of 20 this question or 10, 7, obviously you will get it. Based on this information, you may miss one or two things in your calculation, but the rest of the marks you are going to get them. So we need the selling price of neck B, draw B, shoulder B, and the variable. Let's just go there and see.
65.58.
So we're dealing with the budget. Yeah, 65, 50, and 80. These are the budgeted. Then the direct materials, we come here. They give us here, it was the bonus, there is no calculation. Then the direct labor is for make B. So for the direct labor here, what you do, that's why I was saying the bit of basic math is supposed to be in you, in MAT. Because you see these guys, what they give us the direct labor a unit of make B. And they come here and say the same direct labor rate per hour applies to all products. So, which means when they were calculating this, they say make B is going to use, make B is going to use 18 minutes. So when they calculate this one, it means they come here and say 18 over 50 times, let's say times Y is equal to 10.80. This is the equation that we are going to do, so that you can get who is Y. Y is the direct labor per hour. This is how they calculate to get this one. So you need this one, so that you can come up with your so which means our Y is going to be a bigger number. So it's vice versa. So it's going to be 60 over 18 and they cross the line times that times 10.8, that is going to be our direct labor per hour. So how much are we going to have as our direct labor per hour? 6 over 18 times 10.8. How much are we going to have there?
The
36.
So 36 is the direct labor rate per hour. So even now, if you come and say 18 over 50 times 36, you must get the 10.80 here. You must get the 10.80. So it means this is the same way when you are calculating for draw B. So draw B is going to be 12 over 66 times 36. Then shoulder B, the same, is going to be 30 over 60 times 36. So that's how we do. But the first thing the key is here. For you to get that 36, you must do your equation so that you can see they calculate using this line and they got this one. So which means what we got here is Y, which is the direct labor per hour. The reason why we want the direct labor per hour, remember here they are giving us per minute. And the per minute is going to be derived from the direct labor per hour. Right? So let's go and first fill in what we have so that we can continue. So that's why I was saying a bit of math is required in NAC, especially those measurements, units of measurement. Read those ones, just know them. 1 meter, 1 centimeter, one kilogram, what cubic, all those ones you need to know them. So here we can now say the selling price that we have, we say is 65 here. Then we have draw B, we say is 50. Then shoulder B, we say it's 80. So we now go to our variable cost. Then direct material we are provided. We don't need to calculate that one. It's 16 here. Then the other one is 19. Then the other one is 30. Am I correct? Yeah. Then the direct labor, who is having 10.80 is here. 10.80. Then let's calculate the one for Mac B. How much are we going to have for Mac B? Mac B is going to use how many minutes?
7.2.
This one is going to be 7.2. How did you calculate it? Let's just put it here. You say
12 divided by 60.
times 36. Then the
Yes.
other one is going to be 30 minutes over 60 times 36. And you see how we get 36. I think all of you, we did a calculation to get 36. So this one is going to be 7.20. Then the other one is going to be how much there?
18.
Sorry?
18.
180. Right? So we are done with the direct labor. Let's go to the variable manufacturing cost. How do we get the variable manufacturing cost? So it's as long as you know the story. Information is there. It's not even needed. It's straight. But what is needed for you is for you to know what. That's why I say the topic is to be understood first. Before you even go to deal with these questions, understand the topic. So the variable manufacturing overhead is 20 rand per direct labor minute. So it means for Mac B, you multiply 20 rand, 20 cents, sorry, times 18, draw B, 20 cents times 12, and Mac shoulder be 20 times 4, 20 times 30. So that's how we get our variable manufacturing overhead. So that's there. So it means here, I think you guys get the answer here. So it's going to be, the first one is, we say how many minutes at first here is
20 times 8. 0.20 times 8.
This one is 18 minutes, so it's going to be 0.20 times 18. Then the other one is going to be 0.20 times 12.
Times
The other one is going to be 0.20 times 30.
times 30.
Then we have our variable manufacturing cost. So the first one is going to be how much there? Variable manufacturing cost 3.60, 3.6. Then the second one is going to be 2.40.
Yes.
Then the third one is going to be what?
6.
6 rand, right? Then the variable selling cost, this one we calculate it. You just have to show it. It's from A. We calculate this one from A. We take the one with the increase, am I correct? Because we are doing the 2023. So we're going to take the 4.42. We already calculated 4.42, 4.42. Right? What else do we need? We are done with the figures. So we want our contribution, which means we need our total variable cost, the product. That is going to be our total for a year. Someone can calculate this line, someone this line, someone this line, someone for the first line. So what is going to be the first line, which adds the variable cost?
34.82.
34.82. Then the second line, who got the second line?
33.02.
33.02. The third line, who got it?
58.42.
I just hear two voices here. Where are the others? Are you guys there? Right? Let's now have our contribution. So our contribution is going to come from here. So we subtract 65 minus 34. Someone can do this one, the other one. The first one is going to be how much are we going to have as our contribution there? Contribution per unit. Let's just put it.
It's 30.18.
Then this one is going to be 30.18. Then this one, who got this one?
16.98.
16.98. Then the last one?
21.58.
21.58. So now we have our contribution per unit. That's our contribution per unit. What do we need? The zipper pool per unit. How many zipper pools goes to make B? We say 2 from our question. It's 2, 1, 4. Am I correct?
4.
Yes.
Correct.
Then now we divide. When you are here, the contribution per limiting factor. So this line, you need to look into your question. How many, if there are hours, then you need to look at how many hours goes into this, into this, and this. Then you divide. So which means here we're now going to divide. We divide 30.18 divided by 2. This one is not going to change. And this one is still going to be the same. The 16.98. So the first one is going to divide by 2. How much are we going to have there? It's 15.09. Then this one is going to be divide by
5.4.
5.4. Right? Then the next thing is ranking. We rank now. Who is going to be our number one? Our number one is the one with the highest contribution. So our number one is going
Yes.
to be here. Number two is this one. Number three is this one. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right? When we rank, we are now going to start here. How many draw B are we required to make? So we just go to our question. This one we just take them from the question. 18,000. Yeah, it's 18,000. Draw B, we have to make 18,000. So we are going to make 18,000 of draw B. Right, when you make 18,000 of draw B, how many units of the zippers does draw B use? Draw B use 1. No, I'm not on the right line. I want us to give us first draw B. How many units of draw B do we require here? I put the wrong figure there. Let's just go there to our question. Draw B is the one with the number 1. So we give draw B. So draw B is 45. Am I correct?
Okay.
So you look at
Yes.
45 times 1. So it's going to require 45,000 zipper pools, because it used 1 zipper pool per unit. Then let's check. Let's just do it here. So which means draw B is going to get the full quantity of 45,000. So from your 150,000. Remember the zipper pools that are available is 150,000. So which means you are going to minus the one that you give to draw B, which is 45,000. How much are we going to be left with there? We are going to be left with 105,000. Then you look at the second ranking. The second ranking there is what? Next B is number 2, ne? Yeah. So which means you look, if you still have enough resources to give next B, I think we'll still have, because next B will require 36,000 super pools. So we still have. So now
yes,
we give all units of neck B and all units of shoulder B. So it means we only need to calculate the one for the last one. So let's see how we put it there. Right. So in our answer, we are going to say 18,000 units is fine, even though it was wrong in the first place, but I think it's fine. We're going to give all of them there. Then here it's going to be 45,000.
45.
Right? Then we want to see how many are we going to give to shoulder B. So we are now going to say the one that goes to here is 8 is going to be 150,000 minus 18,000 times there's 2 zipper pools plus 45,000 times 1. So how many are we going to have there? 150,000 minus 36 plus 45 is going to be how much there?
69,000.
So,
no.
36 plus 45 is going
It's
to be
69,000.
the one left, or the one left, the final answer. Are you
Yes,
sure?
the final.
So if we minus 150 minus here, we get what, 69,000.
Yes.
Okay. How many zipper pulls are required by shoulder B? Shoulder B is used in 4 zipper
It's
pulls
four.
unit. So it means there's a shortfall there. We're not going to give them the full 27. Remember, they want 27,000. So if you come here, we'll now say you divide by 4.
Mm.
That is the one that we are going to make for shoulder B. How much are we going to have for shoulder B?
17,250.
It's going to be 17,250. So you can just show it as your calculation one here. Then you show it here. Then we're done. Everything that we need, I think that's the end of the journey now. Then we'll be done. Any questions? This is a straightforward question in the exam. Calculate your limiting factor, calculate your contribution per unit, determine the units required per unit, calculate your contribution per limiting factor, rank, and share. Then you are done with this question. So the most important thing is to know, how do I do the optimum production mix? That's the most important thing in the exam. The moment you see a question says calculate the optimum production mix, then what should come to your head is, how do I do it? I need the limiting factor. That's number one. When I have my limiting factor, what do? I need to check the contribution per unit. Then I need now to go and look for and calculate the contribution per limiting factor, so that you rank. Remember, the optimum production mix was saying this is a mix that will maximize the profit of the organization. This is a mix. As a management accountant, you want to tell management that with our limited resources, for us to maximize our profit, we should make those products which is with the highest contribution to limiting sector. Remember, management, they don't know management accounting. That's why it is an advantage to be a management accountant, because you will be mostly advising people who doesn't understand much what you are doing. So we always take an advantage. So you just tell them that these are the ones that will make in order to maximize the company's profit. This one with the lowest contribution, even if it means we don't have resources, we can leave it out. Based on the quantitative factor, we can leave it out. Remember, we have quantitative and qualitative. When we go to qualitative, maybe we can consider some other issues which are non-financial. Right? Unless if there's someone with a question, I think we are done with the optimum production mix. Anyone with a question on this one? I think that the most important thing is just know what goes into this variable. Who are those variables in the question? Who are the variables in the question? Then you go to your scenario and select those variables. I don't think something that, don't mind about that long story. Don't even look at it too much. Just look for what you want there. Don't even mind about how long this story is, the statements are. You just look for what you want. I want the variable cost. You go to where they are, then you take what you want. Whether they write a 5-page whatsoever, you don't have to mind about it. And the other thing is, these questions are structured based on this scenario. If you check our scenario number 1.1 and our number 1.2. It's answering questions of A and B. So you see, the structure is, you will see when we go to C, then we still need to use that same scenario. Let's check when we go to B, you see, and C is another very interesting simple topic. So this paper was very nice. They wanted you to calculate the budgeted break-even point in units. But the nice part of this one is they gave us a contribution. So we don't need to calculate the contribution. That's another thing. In the example, you stress yourself wasting time calculating the contribution, but it's here. So here we have the budgeted contribution per unit. And what we want is the budgeted break-even point in units, the product type for the 2023 financial year. So what you do is you come, unless if there's someone with a question, we're already at this. Anyone with a question on the optimum production mix. Optimum production mix is the production that will maximize the profit of the organization. So which means you will only start to give the limited resources to those products which will maximize the profit of the organization. Right? Unless if there is a question, let's do C. Let's do C. They want us to do the budgeted break-even point. For this one, it's the budgeted break-even point is equal to the formula is total fixed cost. I always prepare a formula on this one first.
Is it C or D?
Budgeted break-even.
Is it question C or D?
It's C, sorry. I don't know where I'm writing. I want us to see it. There's something that I want us to do on Saturday. So that's why I'm like, I think we'll have another class on Saturday if possible, so that we polish I'll check which question paper we can do on Saturday. So our C is going to be the budgeted break-even point, total fixed cost overall.
Weighted contribution per unit.
The weighted contribution per unit.
Yes.
Yes. Right. Once you have your formula like this, you are done. If you can still remember this formula in the exam, then you are done. The next thing that you want is who are those total fixed costs? Who is that weighted contribution per unit? So which means those are the calculations that we want here. So we can come here and do our calculation. Let's just come here and do the calculation. The contribution is there, right? So we don't need to calculate the contribution. We need the total fixed cost. And what else is here? What else do we need here? For us to get the weighted, what must we have to get the weighted? But here, normally we should have 3 tools here to calculate the budgeted break-even point. There is the fixed cost, the contribution per unit. In our question is given. Then this part to get the weighted. What must we have?
Sales mix.
Sales mix. Yeah, sales mix.
Yes.
Yeah, we need the sales mix. For us to get the weighted, we must have a sales mix. The sales mix is the one that we are going to multiply by the contribution per unit. Then it's now weighted now. Once we calculate the sales mix by the contribution per unit, then it's now weighted. So in this, you need 3 things. If sales mix and the total fixed cost. I think let's start with the with the with the total fixed cost. Right? Who are those? I saw we have. I think they are very straightforward. The one that we calculate must come with. The one that we
200.
Yeah, the one that we calculate, the 225,500. Then who else is so which means we are no more going to calculate the mix. Let's see, is that 400, 500? Yeah, they are no, we're not even going to calculate anything. We just said admin and the 500, and there's that 400, yeah, 500. So that is going to give us the total fixed cost. So it's going to be the admin. This one is going to be 118,000. Then sorry. Then we have what? Fixed manufacturing overhead. Is it like this? Yeah, 400. Then what else? We have fixed selling cost. Fixed selling cost is 222, the one that we calculate.
500.
So what is going to be our total fixed cost here?
741,000.
741,000 is the total cost. Right. If this is the total cost, then what else do we want? We have our total cost, then we want the sales mix. So our working two is going to be the sales mix. Like in your sales mix is going to be determined by the sales. That's what it means there. So there's nothing much there. So you are going to have budgeted sales. If you check, let's just quickly go there. So we are here. So these are the cells. So this is where we get our sales mix. Net B is 18, draw B is 45, and shoulder B is 27. Right? So this is where we get our sales mix. And a sales mix is the proportion of sales to each product. So you are trying to get the proportion of sales per each product. Right. So which means here we are going to have the first one is Mac B. So Mac B is equal to 18,000. Draw B is equal to 45,000. And shoulder B
27,000.
is equal to 27,000. The simplest way to have your simplest sales mix, first remove, you see, they all have the same 3 zeros. Remove these zeros. You have 1845. Then you look for what do you call it? We used to call it what? Any factor that will divide into all of them. Any lowest or highest common factor. Yeah, we used to call it highest common factor at high school. You look for the highest common factor. So our highest common factor here, we can use 9. So this one, if you divide by 9, it's going to be 2. If you divide by 9, here it's going to be what? 5, isn't it? If you divide by 9, here it's going to be 3. So this is our cells mix. 2 S to 5 S to 3. This is the cells mix is 2 shoulder B, 5 draw B, 3 2 make B, 5 draw B, and 3 shoulder B. So this is going to be your cells mix. So which means we have 5. What else do we need to calculate there? We have everything now. The contribution is provided. So let's check now. Now I need a small space. So it's going to be total fixed cost is going to be 741,000. That is our weighting one over our weighted contribution. So we go and look at the contribution per unit for each product that is provided in the question.
It's 30, 15, 20.
So there's 30, 15, and 20.
20. Mhm.
Okay, let's just go down there. So which means we come here and say the first one is 2. So it's going to be 2 times 30 plus, we are now waiting. The second one is the one with what? With the cells mix of what? Of 5, yeah. What's the contribution for the second one? It's going to be 5 times. How much is the contribution here?
It's 15.
Times 15 plus the last one is got 3 cells mix times 20. So
Yes.
it's going to be 60 here plus 75 plus 60 here. 120 plus 75. How much are we going to have? 195. Am I correct?
Yes.
So it's going to be 741,000 over 195. How many batches are we going to have here? We need the batches, the number of batches. So it's going to be 741,000 divided by 195.
3,800.
3,800 batches. Right? These are the questions when I see them in the exam of like, no, different. It should be 90, 80, 90%. It's straightforward. Right. We now have our 3,800 batches. We come. The question requires us to what does the question requires us to do? Let's just go to the question. Is it requiring us to do the per each product? How many units per each product? Well, that's where we are going now. I saw right, we are here in units per product type. Okay, so we just need the product type. So when you have your batch, you are now using your sales mix to see how many are going to be next B and how many are going to be draw B. So which means, let me just do it here. Okay. So which means you now come and say, make B, the sales mix for make B is the one with 2, ne? Am I correct? Yes, it's the one with 2. 2 times 3,800. How much are we going to get here? 7,600. Am I correct? So make B,
Yes.
you need 7,600. Then you go to draw B. You use the sales mix. Draw B is 5, ne? The one with 5. Times
Yes.
3,800. Then shoulder B is how much are we going to have here?
19,000.
19,000. Fresh. No
Yes.
point. Right? Then this one is 3 times 3,800. How much are we going to have there?
11,400.
11,400. So this is how we do it. So the most important thing is here. Your sales mix is very important here. Determine your sales mix. Once you have the sales mix, if you are provided with the contribution per unit, then you just multiply your sales mix. If there is no contribution per unit, you need to calculate the contribution per unit. So your break-even point, it only needs you to have your fixed cost and your contribution and your sales mix. So the moment you see a question in the context, calculate the break-even point in units. What it comes is here. I need the total fixed to calculate the total fixed cost from the question. I need to calculate the sales mix. I need to calculate the contribution per unit. Once you have those, then you are done. You are done with. So you see why I always say what is important is the content of the topic. That's the most important thing in your. You can go and look into the question, what they call the question base. But if you don't understand the content, you are just wasting time. The content is very important. When I am calculating this, I need the total fixed cost over the weighted contribution per unit. How do I get the weighted contribution per unit? Because if you go to your question now, this price will just be overweighted contribution. So how this comes to be like this is going to be a challenge. So that's why I'm saying go to our notes and the class for each and every topic. This is where you understand the topic itself. So that when you see the topic in the exam, you already know the steps to answer that question. Then you are on the safe side when it comes to math. There is nothing deep on this math. It's just the name which people give to this module. And there is nothing much here. Right? Unless you raise the question, let's do the next one.
Love more.
Yes.
Calculating the break-even point, does it mean we won't always have same answers, right? Based on the common how you calculated your sales mix.
I would have to say.
The answer must be the same.
Others must be the same.
This one
But if
must,
you different denominators,
this one must be the same. If your sales mix is correct, this one must be the same. Where you can differ, let me just take something. You see, when it comes to sales mix, you look for the way, easier way on your side. You may find that someone here can come and express this percentage. someone can express this one in percentage. Or someone can just use them as they are. I can even come here and say 18,000 is to
Multiply.
45,000 is to 27,000. Right. So if I do like this, when you go there to do your weighting, you are now going to say 18,000 times the contribution, which is 30. The first one is 30 plus 45,000 times the second one is for the contribution of how much?
15.
15. Yeah.
Okay.
You say times 15, okay? Then you say this one again plus 27,000 times the 20 contribution. That is going to be your weightage. You still have to get the same answer if everything is correct. We must get the same answer. Someone can come here and put this to percentage. You can come here and say, okay, I want to express this as a percentage. This 18, this is 45, this is, so it's going to give 90. So it's going to be 18,000 over 90,000 and 100. Someone can convert them to percentage. Then you convert this one, you convert this one. Right? Unless if there is an error somewhere, that's when we can have. But the main point when we come to here, we must have the same answer. But here, we can differ here. Based on how you determine, how you decide to calculate your sales mix. But on my side, the moment I see with the zeros like this, I feel like it's easier for me to just come and remove these zeros. Then simplify it to the lowest pair. Then that is going to be the sales mix. Right? Unless if there's another question, let's see if we can have another question that we can choose. Are we fine now? Are we fine on that one?
Yes.
So that's how we do this topic break even. What else do you expect from this topic? Let me just check something. They can ask you the break even value, but that one is not. Well, if you want the break even value, you can calculate now the unit times the selling price per unit. So if the question requires to do the break-even value, you can now come here and calculate by the selling price per unit, by the selling price per unit. But if there is no question, let's look at, I think we can be able to do another question there. Let's check if we can be able to do another question. Where is that? It's D. Right on D, they say, I think that will be our last question. The rest will see them. We'll finish these ones and look at other questions on Saturday. I think we should have another class on Saturday. But let's look at D. That will be our last for today. Then the rest will mix with other questions. Then we'll do them on Saturday. Then they say determine the following missing figures in the actual income statement for Mac B, show all calculations. The one has to determine applied fixed manufacturing overhead and the closing inventory. Applied fixed manufacturing overhead. I think we are now using another information. It's no more there. It's now the actual here. So we are now on 2. We are now on 2. So let's read what 2 is saying. Extract from the actual information for the 2023 financial year. The following actual income statement. You see, this is now the actual income statement. This is now the actual income statement. It's for Make B only. Just know that we are dealing with Make B only here. It's for Make B only. Sales, less cost of sale, opening event. Now, when it is now the income statement, there are two things that you should look at here in your question, in your scenario. Which costing method are they using? These guys are using the absorption costing. So when you are doing your your income statement, it means you are going to use the absorption costing, and they use FIFO, first in, first out. You should know how does FIFO, where does FIFO affect? They always put it in a question. You must know where does it affect when I'm answering. It's very important. Your FIFO is only going to affect your valuation of the closing inventory. So what it means when you value your closing inventory, if they are using the FIFO, it means if you have opening inventory here, you are not going to use it into the valuation of the closing inventory. That is if you are using the FIFO. So it means when you are now going to value your closing inventory, you leave out the opening inventory figure. You start from here, here, and here, and you come to here. So that you can value your closing inventory. That is if you are using FIFO. But when you are using the weighted average, sometimes you see they say they use the weighted average. In your question, you may see this one, weighted average. So if you are using the weighted average, it means in your valuation of the closing inventory, you are going to include the opening inventory. That's basically what it means. They don't just put it just for it to be there. It has to be used. But you can only use it if you have opening inventory in your question. Right? So the question wants us to, here, they want us to fill this line. The applied fixed manufacturing overhead. It's 2.3. Let's go there. Fixed manufacturing overhead are absorbed at a predetermined fixed manufacturing overhead absorption rate on the basis of production units. What it means here is the first thing is to, when you are absorbing, remember I would say you first have to get your overhead absorption rate. In this case, our overhead absorption rate is going to be budgeted fixed manufacturing cost. So it's going to be your budgeted fixed manufacturing overhead over budgeted units of production. Then you have your overhead. Then you multiply it by the actual unit. So let's see how do we answer it there. Let's just go down there and see. I was just trying to explain so that way. So we need the applied manufacturing overhead there. Right. So what we need is the overhead absorption rate first. The overhead absorption rate is calculated using budgeted figures. We calculate it using budgeted figures. So this is going to be our G. So we want the applied fixed manufacturing overhead. The first thing that you need here is to calculate your overhead absorption rate, which is going to be your budgeted fixed manufacturing overhead over. Here they told us that we use based on the number of production units over number of production units. So we are going to say over units produced. So our overhead absorption rate is going to be budgeted. It's 400, the one that we have here. It's 100 what? 500 next. Over what? Units produced, budgeted units produced are the same as units sold. Am I right? So which is going to be over 18,000 plus 45,000 plus 27,000. It's going to give us what? The overhead absorption rate. When you have the overhead absorption rate, then you multiply it by the actual units produced. So here we want the overhead absorption rate. How much are we going to get as our overhead? So this is going to be 90,000. So we divide 400, 500 divided by 90,000.
4.45.
4.45. So our overhead absorption rate is going to be 4.45. That's the overhead absorption rate. So when we have it, we multiply by the actual units that were produced. Let's check in our question how many units are the actual that were produced in the period.
20,000.
Oh, so let's go ahead. So which means now the applied overhead is now going to be 4.45 times 20,000, which is going to be how much? That's the applied overhead. It's going to be
89.
So these are the applied overhead. You are done. So what is here when you apply the overhead? Remember here we always apply overhead. If the question requires you to do the income statement using the absorption costing, remember we also have to apply this overhead. When we apply this overhead, this is a situation where we have under or over applied overhead based on the actual overhead if they are provided. So which means you are now going, if you are doing the absorption costing statement, once you apply, you need to go and check the actual. How much is the actual? Then if it is under or over, then you know how do you adjust the under or over. You must adjust the under or over. Right? Let's do some of the question. This is there. Let's do the last one there. I think we still have 5 minutes to do the last part there. So this one is very important, the overhead absorption rate. In your question, you are always provided with the method of absorbing overhead. They will tell you, they can even say you absorb based on the number of units sold, you absorb based on the number of units produced, you absorb based on machine hours. Whatever they say in the question is what you are going to include. So they want us to do the closing intent of Mac B. The closing intent here. Closing intent of Mac B. Where do we go? We want the closing intent. So we are here. So the closing intent of Mac B, they make 20,000 and sold 17,000. So already we have 3,000 units of closing intent. Then what else we want is the production cost. So which means we must add from, we are using people, we must add from here to here, but where are the figures? Oh, these people, they always want to, they give us the actual gross profit per unit. You see the gross profit. So this gross profit, and they give us the sales, right? So if we want the actual, so which means here we should be able to calculate the actual selling price per unit. So we should divide by 17,000. If we divide 1 or 20 by 17,000, we'll get the actual selling price per unit. So when we have our actual selling price per unit, that's why they put this one. There's a gross profit per unit of 27. So from our actual selling price per unit, we minus this one. So that is going to be the answer that we get is going to be the cost per unit. So that cost per unit, production cost per unit, is the one that we are going to multiply by the 3,000 units. Then we'll get our value of closing inventory. So let's see how do we put it on paper. I was just explaining so that when we come here, it becomes a bit easier. So let's see how do we so they want us to calculate the closing inventory. So it's going to be number 2, closing inventory of Mac B. So the first thing is to determine the closing inventory. There is production minus sales is equal to our closing inventory. So the production was there, it was almost 20,000 minus the sales is 17,000, which is equal to 3,000 units. Then we want the cost per unit. The cost per unit, we say the trick there is, I don't think there is another way there. That's the only way. They did not give enough information. So you need to calculate your cost, your selling price per unit. So the cost per unit is going to be equal to selling price minus the gross profit. So you're going to have your selling price 1,020,000 over what?
$17,000.
Over 17,000. That is going to be your selling price minus 27. So how much are we going to have for the selling price there?
33.
It's 33.
Sorry, on the selling price. Oh,
We divide first here. We need to divide first.
It's 60.
So this is our selling price. Our selling price is 50 minus 27. So this is going to be the cost per unit that we get now. So
Yeah.
33
33.
Yeah, it's going to be the cost per unit. Then if we have the cost per unit, then our value of closing inventory will come and multiply by the closing inventory. So our value of closing inventory is going to be 3,000 times 33. Are we doing the right thing here? This 33 is the what? It's the cost per unit. Yeah.
Yes,
Times 33, which
it's
is going to be
99.
99,000. So this is going to be
Yes.
your value of closing inventory. But in some of the questions, let's say you have done, you see the reason why they give this small information is they didn't want you to calculate the whole cost statement. But if let's say you started with the whole costing statement, let me just go there and check what I'm trying to say. So in some of the questions, let's say you started with your own costing profit statement here. Then it means when you come here, when you value your closing inventory, you add, if you are using FIFO, you are going to add this per unit, per unit, per unit, per unit. But you can just add them, then divide by the number of units produced. Then you are going to get the cost per unit. Then you multiply by the closing inventory unit. Then you get this figure. You get this closing inventory. So every time when you are here in the closing inventory, you should know how to value your closing inventory, which means you add your direct material, direct labor, variable manufacturing overhead, applied fixed manufacturing overhead, your total, you divide it by the number of units that were produced to get the cost per unit. Then the cost per unit, you now multiply it by your value of closing, your unit of closing inventory. Then it's going to give you the value of closing inventory here. That is if you are using the absorption costing. That's when you can have this applied fixed manufacturing. But if you are using the variable, it means your cost of inventory is only going to be on here. Direct material, direct labor, variable manufacturing overhead. Then you value your closing inventory based on FIFO. If it is the weighted average, then it means you include the opening inventory. Right? I think we are done for today. Unless if there is someone with a question on this, today we are done. Almost 5 parts we are done. Let's end here. Right. If there is no question, let's have the class on Saturday. If you guys are available, let's have something that we can just polish off on Saturday. Will you guys be available for Saturday class? What time to what time? 10 to 12 or what?
Yes, please.
So let's have a class on Saturday. We can finish off this and then we look for something else that we can do. So let's have the class from 10 to 12 on Saturday. Then I think we'll be prepared for the upcoming test. You see, the good thing is don't give this module chance like now. You see, the topics are still few. Make sure you capitalize, understand the content of test 1. When we go to test 2, understand the content of test 1 and 2. Test 3, the content of test 1, 2, 3. Test 4, the content of test 1 to 4. Then you are preparing for the final exam. There is no way you cannot get more than 50 in that case. Right? So we meet on Saturday. MNC again with me. Thank you everyone for attending the class.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.